I'm Alan Lester. I'm a Professor of Historical Geography at the University of Sussex. I think it's the opportunity to do things at a multi-scalar sort of level. So on the biggest scale, this collection encompasses frontiers ranging from the 17th century to the early 20th century, so the temporal scale is vast. Geographical scale is also vast. We've got Texas, California, British Columbia, the American West more generally, and Canada. We've got Southern Africa, we've got Australia and New Zealand. And it's a collection that works across all of those terrains and across all of that period. So it gives you the opportunity to write at the largest possible scale and to do the kind of work of integrating the American frontier with British settler frontiers, for instance, something which is a growing sort of trend in the historiography of empire. But it also operates at the very smallest of scales. You can really zoom in and take some of these documents in isolation and do some really thorough work on them. So for instance, if you're interested in one particular settler family's establishment on the land and the daily travails, the domestic life, the routines through which the land was secured for Anglophone settlers by dispossessing indigenous peoples, and the everyday experience of life on a colonial frontier, you can envisage a project that's purely using just a few of these sources that give you that kind of level of intimacy, and everything in between. You can do regional, comparative, interconnected histories from the micro to the macro. So I think the main benefit of digitising this material is it's enormously time-saving. I've sat through in archives, wading through reams and reams of material to get the odd sort of golden nugget of stuff that you can actually use. And this gives you the potential, as I've mentioned, to range across vast spaces and vast temporal periods, and to zoom in on really useful stuff just in a few clicks. And to do that kind of comparative work so that you can zoom in on useful stuff if you've got a particular theme that you're working on from Southern Africa or from Australia or from California, put it into relation to one another very quickly. And the level of quality I'm also extremely impressed by. The fact that you can manipulate the image on the screen so nicely. If someone's handwriting is quite difficult, you can zoom in and sort of decipher it and get to know it a bit better before you zoom out and read more quickly. All those kinds of things are very difficult to do with real materials. This just makes it so much easier. I can think of many benefits of teaching using this material. You could plan whole courses based upon it. For instance, it would be quite easy to come up with a comparative frontier course which dips in and out of material from the different frontiers, from Texas, from California, from British Columbia, from Victoria in Australia, from New Zealand, at certain moments in the course, and draws not just comparisons but also connections, looks at some of the phenomena that link those frontiers in terms of credit and capital and ideas of race and indigenous experiences of dispossession. You can plan a whole course on it, but you can also just draw on it much more selectively to exemplify particular points in a course on colonialism more generally, or US history, or Australian history, or British history. And you can envisage multiple student projects being conducted on this, so students can pick and choose which aspects they're interested in, looking at development of the Klondike Gold Rush, for instance, in microcosm, or doing that sort of comparative gold rushes across the empire, looking at the experiences of one particular indigenous people and their tenacious attempts to hold on to land, the experiences of the residential schools in Canada. I mentioned before, we've got some fantastic resources on the Sussex Reserve School outside Calgary, and I certainly became very immersed in those, not knowing too much about them, and thinking of writing something on that. So I can imagine many students wanting to engage with particular aspects that grab their attention like that.